What is up, everybody? We are back. Finally, we got our girl back in the building with us. What's up, Moochie?
Hey y'all, what's up?
Good.
Hey,
What is up?
Moochie.
So, y'all, we are about to talk about the second half of Bobby Brown. I hope y'all went and looked at the second half of it, got your little refresher on so that we can go ahead and get into this particular episode. I mean, to be honest, this episode to me was more sad than anything. Just the amount of loss that was going on was a lot. So I can't wait to talk about it. Today we got our girl Candy Love with us. She's joining the ladies as we discuss this. We might have another guest come through. What's up, Candy?
Hey. How y'all doing, beautiful ladies?
Good, good. Look at
Hey.
you looking cute. I
I
see.
miss y'all.
Well,
Oh,
thank you. Thank you.
Moochie, I'm glad you
Tamika.
feeling better.
I
thank
said
you.
Tamika, hey boo.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Moochie's back in the building. Hi,
Pew,
y'all.
pew,
Yeah.
pew.
Okay. I wish I did have my little I don't
I
have my
don't know
thing hooked
why
up.
this
I
is
can't do it.
saying
Okay, y'all. Let's see who is in the building with us. We got Rashonda in the building, Daria in the building. We got Dolly. Okay, we just gonna say Ree. We got B Will. We got David in the building. I was about to say Candy Love, girl, but
Hey.
I see. Okay, y'all. Let me get these slides up and let's just jump right into it. First of all, what was y'all Moochie? What was you thinking about the second half? I got
Mm-mm-mm.
updated this.
the
Uh-oh, your mic.
second half was very emotional, and it was a lot of moments where it made you really sad, and then you saw even more, a little more into Bobby and Whitney's marriage.
Yep, which just was so interesting to me, especially if we think about this particular, because we always know that there's multiple sides to every story, but this was the particular side that we're talking about today. And as you look at it, you're just like, for a lot of people who initially may have thought that Bobby was the person in this relationship that was the toxic one. You learned, from the last first episode that he wasn't the one that was toxic by himself. They were toxic together. Like very much so. So, there's that. Tamika, what you think about, just the overall general part two?
I thought it was good. I thought it was sad. It brought back some things to my memory because I remember a lot of this stuff happening in real time. But then, some things you may forget and be like, oh, yeah, dag, it happened all kind of back to back like that. But I was never really a person, even during that time when it was going on, that felt like Bobby was all bad or he brought what is bad. I know he had kind of the bad boy, persona and all of that, but I just never felt like it was all him. And I know that Whitney used to share and basically say that it wasn't all him, but for some reason I don't think people really believed her. They just kind of felt like, oh, she's just saying that to be protective of him or whatever the case may be. But it's always his side, her side, and the truth. Nobody's perfect.
Exactly. At the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. Hey, Inga.
Hey,
Hey,
Inga.
ladies. Hey, I
How
missed
you
y'all.
doing?
Hey, I'm hanging in there. Hanging in there.
Good, good, good. So we just getting into it. We were kind of talking about our overall feelings about this second half of it. And yeah, Tamika, you right. Like no matter how much she said it, nobody was really buying it. It's almost like they felt like she was just trying to protect him. But at the end of the day, like you said, nobody is perfect. Everybody has their flaws. And we saw a real redemption story in this particular part. To me, we saw him trying to do better. So, let's go ahead and get these slides up, y'all, because I had them named earlier, y'all. I don't know why StreamYard does this. Like, I renamed them so I would have them in order, and now I tell you, they named them back to the originals, and now they not in order no more. So I gotta click on them. Give me a second. I gotta figure out which ones are which. That's crazy. I took all that time to do that. Okay, so when the episode starts out, we start out with Bobby having an accident. And then I think this is the time also where he's about to go on tour with New Edition. So we're kind of he's because I think when he has the accident, I think the announcer or whoever's talking says that this comes at the time when he's about to go on tour with New Edition. So,
Mhm.
you know, so of course Whitney's there with him, and then there's this part where Bobby started tripping out, y'all. Like he started like losing it. Moochie, let's start with you. Kind of tell us about that scene and what were you thinking when you saw him losing it, thinking Whitney wanted to take him out?
That was crazy. He was hallucinating. He was seeing the nail file as a knife. And she was just
Mhm.
she was just filing her nails. And he was just like really seeing her as like a evil person. Like she was trying to hurt him. And he freaked out, spazzed out, ran off the bus.
Yeah, he was
And
really
now that
tripping.
I look at this, like looking at it a second time, Ricky don't look too good here either.
Mm-mm.
He looked
I
like
was
he
like, what
was
he
like messed. Like it now is if you look at things and we watch the New Edition story. Hey Inga, we see
Hey,
he
Moochie.
looks like he now he looks like he has a habit too. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Because when I first saw it, I said this must be the bus where I ain't gonna say it.
Yeah, they you
I
know
was
it was the
like,
get high bus.
yeah, that's
You
exactly
go
what
do
I was
all of
thinking.
that over there.
Yeah, that's the get high bus.
I was like,
Thank
that's
you.
what that bus is.
That was the get high bus.
They
I'm
was getting
sorry.
it on.
They was look, y'all want to smoke blunts and all of that? Go over there.
Okay, going over there to this bus, but they run into the dude, and the dude is like, he not having it. And then when he see what he said, ain't that Whitney Houston?
Mm-hmm.
Which just goes to show how much she transcends, because even people, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that was the whole point of her career, was for her to be able to try to cross over. And the funny part about it is that she had to cross over to us, not cross. Ain't that funny though? Like,
Yeah.
that's where her crossover had to come at.
Yeah, because
So
she had got a lot of hate from the black
Mhm.
community because they was
Yeah.
calling her a sellout like that back then,
Mhm.
Hmm. She was too
booing her
pop.
at award shows and all of that.
yeah, because she meets Bobby at the award show where they booing her, which is the crazy part about it. And we'll talk about when he brings that up later. But Tamika, I want you to talk about this scene right here. This is where we see Bobby cooking it up in the kitchen, and then all of a sudden he go down. But Whitney's reaction was the interesting one. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, this was actually a little triggering for me because I know she was doing that because she worried about getting high, and she probably just thought he was playing while I didn't take it serious. But I had a situation similar to this where I thought the person was playing and they wasn't. But I said, damn, she just leaving Bobby
Oh.
there talking about somebody come clean this up.
Mm-hmm.
She did have her mannerisms and her voice down pat though. Every time I hear her, it would be like if you close your eyes,
Mhm.
you would think you was really hearing Whitney. She was making a
Mm-hmm.
song out of it and everything, coming in there dancing and
Yeah,
just
she was
like,
doing a
all right,
moonwalk.
give me the stuff.
She was doing a moonwalk.
Mhm.
It was
So
funny,
I'ma
but it
start
was sad
without
at the
you.
same time.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about this scene, Candy? What was your thoughts on it?
It was funny and sad at the same time because he actually was having a stroke, but because she was ready to get, lifted. Well, she was already lifted, seemed like to me. And then she come doing the moonwalk back, and then she was like, "Get up, stop playing." Well, I start without you. And then you just somebody come clean this mess up. It was just like I believe that's how she actually took handle it, because I don't think they would have put that in there if she didn't do it. But because she was on drugs, it was like I said, it was sad and funny at the same time. More sad than anything because she was so high that she didn't really realize that he was actually having a medical emergency. But
Yeah.
luckily, he got to the hospital in time enough and was able to recover, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder who it was that actually finally realized like this is a serious situation
Hmm.
here.
Exactly. So Inga.
Mhm.
So what do
Mhm.
you think about when they get to the hospital and Bobby wants to, he's just like, we can't do this no more. And, initially Whitney is in agreement with it. Did you believe her, or what were your thoughts on that?
No, I didn't believe her. And she didn't believe herself. She knew she wasn't going to get stop doing it. She was just saying it. She was in the moment, just at the time. She was upset. She wasn't going to stop. She wasn't ready. You know, man. I think she really drug him down more than he did drug her down. You
Mm,
know,
I didn't want to say
so
it.
yeah, I always believed that she drug him down more so than the other way around. I know most people try to put it on him, but I never believed it was all him. It was majority her. You
Yeah.
know, not saying he's innocent of some stuff he's done, but she was a big, problem,
Yeah.
caused the problems. Yeah.
If you think about it, you also have to think about is that she also had a lot more yes people around her as well. And when people have a lot of yes people around them, that allows them to do things that can
Mm-hmm.
be obnoxious sometimes, stuff that people
Mm-hmm.
know they
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be doing, but yet they just allow it and let it go and not call anybody out on it. And I think that was one of the biggest things with her, is that too many yes people, not enough people holding her accountable for her behavior as well. So, there's that.
Well, I mean, it's easy to blame the black man too. She was the America's princess with this golden voice that everyone loved. White America just loved her. She was the queen of pop. And so here you got this, the so-called bad boy.
Mhm.
And it looks like he was tearing her down and drug her down. She was doing drugs all along from the time she was 18. She ain't know Bobby Brown that time. She's older than
Yep.
Bobby.
They
Yeah.
So
always
her
blinked off of
older
that.
brother's the one who turned her on to drugs. She been
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
But not
So
only that, you know who else confirmed that it wasn't him that
well, the
put
brother
her
said
on the
out of his own
staff?
mouth.
The
Mhm.
brother said it out of his own mouth. Shaka Khan, she was her backup singer. She used to
Mhm.
get high with her. So,
Mhm.
Yeah. I
they
mean, a lot
talked
of people
about
know.
this.
Yeah.
They talked about this years ago, but they
Well, I was glad
always,
that the brother one who
Yeah.
himself said, I introduced her. I'm the one who did it. One of her
yeah,
older
but they
brothers said.
always had this
Mhm.
facade that
Well, that was
Bobby
the
was the one
mama.
that
That's
made
the
her,
mama
turned
who
her
did
into this
that.
person, and
I
she
think
was
the
Right.
always
mama.
like
I think the
this.
mother was controlling, and the mama was the one saying. Miss Sissy was saying, telling the media and everybody, it's him, it's him, it's him. But I'm glad the brother finally, when they did that interview with Oprah,
Yeah.
and the brother was sitting there crying and carrying on, and
Mhm.
I'm glad he finally, he confessed, because all them years, I bet you the mother probably put her foot in his hind parts and said, "Don't you say nothing, put it on Bobby."
Mhm.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
too much
they
to
had
do.
all of that stuff under control. Even her
Mm-hmm.
relationship with Robin, they was controlling a lot of things. And I think because she was doing it for so long and because it was hidden for so long, of course that was just easier to do. But also after this happened to him and he had his scare, I know we ain't really get to it yet, but when things started changing for him and he started having a different perspective, she wasn't in that same place as him at the same time. And you see that a lot of times, like if we all getting high and we all partying together, it's all good. But if now I stop and I'm doing things a different way, then we don't really
And
have
yeah, when
as
you're in a
much in
marriage,
common.
both people got to get clean at the same time. Okay, it's
Yeah.
alcohol, drugs, or
Hmm.
gambling, or going on a diet. If one
Right.
person's still doing something crazy and the other one getting
Hmm.
clean or getting their life
Mm-hmm.
together, whatever it may be, it ain't gonna work after a while. They was going to
Hmm.
clash, and this could have been
Right.
Yeah.
anybody.
Exactly. Let me
Yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
I completely
Hmm.
understand, because every time I try to get my life together and I try to lose weight, my husband
He
just
come
be
in with some
doing the
ice
most.
cream or some cake or some cheesecake or
Hmm.
something,
Always.
you
You
know.
want something sweet? You want something sweet? You
Yeah,
really
exactly. Yes, yeah. That's so
Mm-hmm.
it
can't
doesn't
never
work
do
if
right.
if you
Really
don't have a
much.
supportive partner there. And they was,
Mm-hmm.
but I know I'm gonna have some people probably in this chat who probably gonna be mad with me or hate me or whatever. But Whitney got on my goddamn last nerve, and she was a raw bitch to me. I think she had an attitude. I know she was drugs, but I think even when she wasn't on drugs, she seemed like she was stank. Like her attitude was funky a
We don't
lot of
know
the
when
time.
she wasn't though.
But that's
You know
true.
when
See,
you
that's the
really
thing.
seen it
That's why I
though?
keep saying. kept saying to myself, well, I know she was on drugs. I know she was on drugs. I know she was on her drugs could have made her that way. But I don't know. She just seemed, I liked her music, but I wasn't necessarily one of those stands. I'm not one of those people that's pull their hair out for Whitney Houston and all that kind of stuff. I like her music. She's all right, but I was rocking with Bobby always. So
but you know what I think did it for how you saw the real her when they did that reality show.
Oh yeah.
It showed how nasty she
that was
was.
bad.
Yeah,
that was
That's
bad.
when it started to get worse.
Yeah, just made her look bad.
Yeah.
And she knew that it made her look bad and then blamed him for it.
I think the drugs just highlight what you already are. The drugs just highlight who you are already. She was probably was just this way already, even when she wasn't, But when she ever got on drugs, she been doing drugs since she was 18, 19 years old.
Right.
So,
yeah, it does have an impact, though, as somebody that has had, several people in my life that have had addiction. It changes the attitude and the looks and everything. And you're a completely different person when they, not in that space no more.
There'll be a person you never imagined they would be.
Don't even know who they are.
You'll be like, I really don't know who this person is.
You're right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And that's why I try to give her a little grace because of that. I've always tried to give Whitney over the years grace because of, but I don't know.
And she was fighting a little lesbianism.
Yeah. Yeah. She couldn't be herself. And I think that's probably
and
why
the 90s.
she
So she
turned to it.
This was the 90s at this point. So she really couldn't, it ain't like now.
Yeah.
If somebody come out
and then her family was so against it. Like I remember even Oprah interviewing her mom and asking her mom, would you disown her? Like, is it a problem like that? She said, absolutely. Yeah.
The mothers of one of them Bible Belt women.
Bible thumpers.
Got the Bible underneath her arm and her pocketbook on with the Bible. So she, the mothers, that's the where they come from. So
she could never be really happy.
Hey, Tamika, what did you say? What did you say? It's like, I'm sorry, I caught some of it, but I missed something. You said something about you were talking about the mom in the interview.
Oh yeah, in the interview, Oprah was like, "So if she was a lesbian, like, would you disown her? Would that be a problem?" She said, "Yeah." She was like, "No, it's no lesbian. That's out." Like,
I remember that interview.
Can't do that.
That was so disheartening because
well, there you go, and it just kind of goes to feed to probably why she was feeding herself all these drugs. I mean,
and then there was accusations allegedly that her father was even wanting to like have Robin legs broke up and all kind of stuff. Right?
Yeah. It was wild, but and this was the 90s, so this wasn't. It wasn't like it is now. Somebody come out and say they gay. You be like, yeah, okay. Well, what else going on? What's for dinner?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's I mean, again, if somebody was gay, it's like, oh my God, and whispering and all some kind of stuff, and not her of all people. Like she was
right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I mean, then, she grew up singing Christian music. Like this persona that they had of the image that they built.
And that's right. So truth be told, the church, half the people in the church is, doing their thing.
Stop
we know that.
I ain't even gonna get into that because but it's just so I don't even know why the mother was tripping because I bet you her choir director was probably one.
Listen.
I feel like she had a change of heart, but it was too late. It was after she was already gone.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And if you would have did this when she was here, she probably wouldn't have that life she had because not for nothing. When they showed it, Robin used to really keep track of her and make sure she was on point.
Until Robin just couldn't deal with it no more. Yeah, until it got bad. Robin had
It was more between him and Robin.
She wanted to let her marriage work, so that's why she broke that. That's why that relationship dissolved.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's move on to the next part, which was where we're gonna see Bobby about to go to jail, and Lord have mercy.
He stayed going to jail.
I bet if that baby wasn't there, Whitney would have lost it. She would have went off.
Whitney say, I need you to talk to me. I said, girl, he in jail. He can't do that.
Yeah, she was like, well, just stay on the phone with me.
Like he don't sleep with the
Yo,
phone.
he
He
was
stay on no
lucky he
phone.
ain't getting
They
into
never
a
had
fight
phone calls
over
with somebody
that.
in prison. You can't stay on no phone. You can
He was
you
lucky.
Put
He,
the
he
phone
you know, that's
beside
how
him.
fights start in there with stuff
over
like
the
that.
phone.
He's
Over the
lucky he ain't get
telephone.
into like some kind of squabble.
Man
Exactly.
beat up.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a point where while he's there, he's going to detox. I mean,
Yeah.
he's going to detox. Now, we know that he didn't have to detox in there. We know that they can get anything up in there that they want. But he decides he want to detox. And I think that he already was at a point where he wanted to let it go. But it's kind of hard to let something go. It's like the food thing I was telling you about. It's hard to not eat that hamburger that somebody bring you, or that cookie, or that cake.
I'm addicted.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, it's definitely hard. You figure he
Yeah.
done got sick, you know, he went to jail. So like you said,
And that's the worst way to
helped him.
detox is to go natural like that, doing your
Yeah.
own. You can actually really die. Look at you make
Yeah.
yourself like really
Make yourself
hospitalized.
sick.
It's because your body going through all kind of withdrawals. You know what I'm
How
saying?
long was he in how long was he in prison? 6 months maybe?
I think it was something like that. It might have been
Could have
90
been something like
days or
that.
something like
I
that.
remember when that we all old enough to remember when he got out and Whitney came and jumped up through her arms on her legs.
Do you remember? Do you remember it was on the Chris
shoes on
Rock
her feet,
show?
looking crazy.
Do y'all remember it was on the Chris Rock show that he had on HBO, and he went up to the jail when he got out?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Is that when Phaedra Parks was supposed to be
she
his
was
lawyer?
looking wild at that time.
When Phaedra was his lawyer?
Hey, one thing you can't ever say
I think she might have been.
is that she didn't care about Bob. Like, you can see that there was some love there. That's for
Oh
sure.
no, I never doubt that they loved each other. They just both had their demons
But
that
they
was
was
fighting.
codependent on each other. So is it love after a while, or did they
trauma bonding?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I believe that they did have like the
too.
trauma bonding. Of course, they had the drug mixture, but I do think that they genuinely loved each other. And people was like, "Well, what the heck? How the heck y'all two get together?" You know what I mean? Like, this is complete opposites.
I don't know why they're not the complete opposite, because she really
that's what they was thinking.
She
though,
really
the
hood. People think
persona,
that
right?
she was, the persona was that she was the
Right.
American princess and she could do no wrong.
But that's why I was
behind
saying in the beginning, I never looked at it that way, me personally, but I know that that was the persona that was always out there. But I think it was actually more in common than what they thought. Like, even when they first met, and we talked about that when we did the first part, it was him being the bad boy and the outcast, and it was her being outcast and looked at funny, but in a different way, right? Towards with the black
in
people.
real life, she was that she from Newark, New Jersey.
Right.
She came from the hood. She not no grew up with a silver spoon in her
Right.
mouth or nothing like. So they could just relate just
exactly, and that's
like
what
that.
he saw. He saw like, "Dad, you real, you down to earth, okay."
He understood her, and she understood him.
Exactly.
They had and that's where the bond was.
Right.
They both came from the hood. She knew that whole princess persona was just a persona, and that was not her. She didn't even want to be like that. This is the image the director company.
That was the record lady. That was Clive Davis, her mom.
That was Clive Davis.
And
they did the same thing to Mariah Carey. That's another person that they.
I was just thinking that Mariah Carey is another example.
Well, I'm gonna give y'all an FYI. They did it also with Phyllis Hyman, and Phyllis Hyman didn't want to do all of that. Phyllis Hyman did not want to do pop. Phyllis Hyman was like
she was R&B, soul, and jazz,
R&B. She performed on Broadway. She was live with everything. Now, and she basically, Whitney Houston basically was her replacement. When the industry didn't want to mess with her, because she was with Clive Davis before Whitney Houston.
And Angela Bofield too. Both of them were beautiful singers, you know. So
when Bobby gets into the car, we're gonna see that she's gonna that's the first thing she's gonna do is be like, I got something for you. He want to go eat because he's tired of these darn bologna sandwiches. But she put that stuff right in his face, and he like, I don't want it in, out, nowhere. Like he just don't want it. And right now, I feel like this is where they are first about to disconnect officially. Like this is where everything is about to go left and right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it went left. Yeah, but he traded one drug for the next, which was alcohol.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
And he's had that problem even up to now. You know,
This little girl was such a perfect fit. They did
Yeah.
very good with the casting as well.
Yeah, she looked like her too. She looked
Yeah.
like Chris.
He was more of a drinker,
Yeah.
Bobby. He always been more of a drinker. Keep in mind, remember his mother was hustling, so that stuff was already in the house too.
Mhm.
Remember when
But remember,
you know,
even when we was
he
doing
was-
the audition, they were all
He
down.
was doing.
somebody.
he was already getting.
He was always smoking cocaine and stuff, but when he got with her, he started free.
It was just out of
the
control.
heroin and all that other stuff. It got heavy when he was with her. You know, so yeah, he got clean from the heroin and crack, other stuff, but then he started drinking so much, and then he gained a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So you go from one issue.
Yeah,
to
that's
another.
usually how it is. You replace one thing with something else. You know,
something else. Yeah.
Still trying to find a way to cope.
Some people become gym rats too, like where they stay in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this was the part where he basically hired his brother back because he had fired his brother at some point. So now he hired his brother back. And when he's gonna get back to his own house, y'all, we're gonna see that he basically, somebody's telling him that he can't come in his house, and this is gonna be that infamous interview that that would definitely be a meme.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
You can still find it on YouTube.
I remember this interview.
Yes, it's on YouTube. You can find.
Yeah.
You know what? I was surprised, y'all, that they didn't do the Wendy Williams interview. Because that was all
that's another
I remember that
one. Those
I
two
remember
will
that
definitely go
live
down
when those
she
two got into it.
Wendy Williams out. Like she, see, that's the Newark, New Jersey came out in her.
Yes.
Listen, I was here for it though.
We were trying to be classy with Diane Sawyer, but not with Wendy. She was like,
"How are you, Wendy?"
She was about ready to come to that radio
You don't
station
even know
with
me.
her tail.
You talk about me, you don't even know me.
Yeah, but Wendy
never been to my
rubbed
house.
people the wrong way though, so I couldn't really be mad at her for that. Wendy was
I
else.
ain't mad at her for what she did.
But that was
I know every minute of
even
it.
Even though Wendy rubbed her the wrong way, that was the best interview. You got the most out of her. You got the real Whitney.
You got the real Whitney.
And it was
raw.
Unfiltered and it was raw.
Yeah, straight no chaser.
At all.
But that Diane Sawyer it just made her look worse. She thought it was going to help her career. It actually made her look worse. That's all the jokes, like all the comedians, everybody in the street, everybody talking about it. It was nonstop.
She definitely got a meme. Once you got a meme, you done hit it. You out there then. Candy,
she was a meme before memes was in style.
What you think about this? What did you think about him coming up to his house, him getting stopped, and then about the whole interview thing? She's like, she thought she did good, but Bobby's like, look, we look crazy. What was your thoughts about it, Candy?
So because I think he said that he was in jail the night before, so he didn't know anything about the interview. So of course there's no communication. I'm sure she knew beforehand, but of course no communication. And now that he's sober, he can see things a little bit clearer now. And he could tell that they look crazy doing the interview, crack is whack. He was like, he didn't know how to answer the questions. It was very telling who was sober and who wasn't, who was thinking with a clear mind. I felt bad for him in this scene because he was like, why can't I go in? Okay, what we doing? Why would you say that? It was just a whole lot of clear thinking for Bobby at that time. And I was like, dang, he was telling the truth though, how they was looking, because they did look crazy, especially Whitney.
Exactly. I don't know. That was a lot. And then we're going to see later that there's going to be another part where Whitney blames Bobby for for her stuff,
Mhm.
and I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
But let's see here. Let's see
And
what
he had
we
to tell her off. They were booing you when I met you.
Mhm.
Moochie, talk to us about this scene right here because Whitney, she
Mm-mm.
was doing the most.
This was crazy. This was crazy to me because after everything happened, he caught her cheating. This is when he caught her, right?
Mhm.
Caught the
I don't
dude in
think
the
she was
house and
cheating. She was
everything.
getting
She
some
wasn't
drugs.
cheating. She was
She was
trying
a drug dealer.
to drug
Yeah,
her.
but it's
She sitting on
still
the man
cheating
lap,
if
ain't
y'all
she?
both said y'all wasn't gonna do anything anymore.
But she
Mhm.
was
Cheating
still
is
doing
cheating.
something. She was just doing it behind his back.
Yeah. She didn't wait for the man. She
Mhm.
didn't wait for him to leave.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't even out the driveway yet.
Mm-mm.
And then
Uh,
he ended up
didn't care.
getting he ended up getting arrested because of this too.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. Another arrest because
Violating his probation.
he in here fighting. He in
Yeah,
here
'cause-
fighting the dope man.
Right.
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
fighting the dope man and you
Yeah,
going to
because
jail.
anything you do while you're on probation, you can end up going back to prison.
Mhm.
You can't even blow your nose the wrong way,
Right.
You end up back in prison. So
That's crazy. But that just goes to show how bad this had gotten. See, her stuff escalated. She did this for all these years when she was doing the white girl, you know what I'm saying? It's one thing, but when you start to escalate and you start doing age and as she say crack is whack, but that looked like Bobby was cooking up some crack to me, but I don't know. But I'm
Mhm.
just saying, but when it starts escalating like this, then it just starts to get worse and worse, like that need, that sensation for that the stuff that you want takes over. And you can see that in this scene right here. Like, he didn't even get out the door good before she already bringing him in the door. Like, literally, she is trying to coax him out. And do y'all ever get the feeling that she was kind of manipulative in this relationship? Like, it felt like she did a little bit of manipulation when it came to
certain things, yeah.
Yeah.
when it came to certain
I feel like
stuff.
she was manipulated. She manipulated him to put their money together.
Yeah.
Which I wish she never did that. That was the craziest
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
She had to just listen. But so we're gonna get to where Bobby decides, okay, so I guess they did, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? He done dirt, she done dirt. It is what it is. So now his brother tells him he needs to do a reality show, basically. And somebody in the chat was just saying they went back and looked at Being Bobby, and I was about to go back and look at it, but I didn't get a chance to go back and look at it. But I want to go back.
It's
and look
hilarious.
At it.
It really is hilarious.
Because
the reality show?
It's hard to not watch it because it's like
Yeah,
watching a
I
train wreck.
enjoyed it when it was on. I ain't even gonna lie, and I'm not a big reality person, but that was one of the ones that I watched, and they had this part down packed too, because that's just how they was.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yo, that's what made you watch it, the
Yeah.
craziness that they was doing.
yeah.
Mhm. And we didn't have cable back then. When I was
Right.
back then, I used to have to go to my aunt's
No,
house
this
to
was like
watch
Bravo.
it.
I think it was on E or Bravo. No, Bravo.
That was
It was
on
on Bravo.
Bravo, I think.
It was on
So
Bravo.
yeah, we didn't have cable or satellite. We didn't have satellite or cable back then. I had to go to my aunt's house and watch. I think it came on maybe Sundays or something. I would have to go to my aunt's house
Something
and
like
watch
that.
it.
Yeah, something
we
like
didn't
that.
have we didn't get cable until later on. I had to be maybe adult before I got it.
What year did it come out?
My parents didn't care about that. They
I
watched
want to
Cowboy
say
Pictures.
2000, like in the early 2000s, like
yeah, it had to be the
3, 4.
early 2000s.
Yeah,
Early
yeah.
2000s,
I
yeah.
was an
Because he
adult
married
before
a
we
girl
got
in
it.
2012, and Whitney passes away, I think 2012,
She
right?
passed away in
early-
2012.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it got to be the early. Yeah,
And the thing about it was, I mean, she was actually happy and being herself when they were doing the show. It was just the reactions that people had of the show
Yeah.
that ticked her off, and then she started feeling the way about it. But when they was in the midst of it, she wasn't complaining about it at all.
Mm-mm.
So it was like, then all of a sudden, when she's reading everybody's comments, that's when it hit the fan.
Because she didn't realize how she was acting. I mean,
Right.
she acted normal to her.
Mhm.
They was doing it fine in their eyes.
That's
but
probably because she
Right.
was still under the influence.
but when they
So
read
you
those
know you got all
comments,
these yes people around. They not saying you look wow. They not saying nothing to her, and she just going on about her business like everything is all good until she started reading the paper.
Right.
And everybody was
So-
calling that show a train wreck.
I got a question.
I mean, it was a train wreck, but I couldn't stop watching it.
I know, y'all. I was like that too. You be like,
I kept
damn,
watching it, yeah.
what they gonna do
And I
next?
laughed at all the jokes.
So I got a question. So I saw the show, but I honestly, it's been way too long, and I don't remember the show. I remember some crazy part about some kind of enema or something. Did
Yes, that's true.
Okay, like,
yes, she was constipated, and she asked him. You can find the clip somewhere on YouTube, probably. She asked him to go up in her backside. I didn't want to say something vulgar. I was trying to get my words together. Go up in her butt and pull, help pull it out because she was constipated with his bed. I said, okay, that got to be, maybe that's some love. Maybe I ain't never experienced that type of love. And I've been married before, and I've had a bunch of boyfriends. I ain't never had that kind of love.
Yeah, it's not going down like that.
No, it ain't going down. No, I would go get to the store and get you some of that fleet or some of the,
I have to ask my sister
some pills or something.
Yeah, my sister ain't gonna do that unless I'm about to die.
Right.
I gotta be about to die.
I'll get you some castor oil. You can take a tablespoon of castor oil or something like that. Oh, but I'm not putting my hand up in your rectum. No, we ain't doing that.
She said, "Hey, ladies, being Bobby Brown was a classic train wreck. I don't fight. I beat bitches up. Love you."
Right.
Yeah, it was classic. Yeah.
I'm about to go and look at this because I cannot remember.
Yeah, now I'm gonna go watch it. Now I'm gonna go pull it up and find and watch it. Yeah.
But I want to see all the episodes. I wonder where is it streaming?
I don't know. Somebody said that they saw it. I can't remember who. Will, I think, said.
Sometimes somebody on YouTube might put all of them on there, but sometimes it's hard to find them.
I'm surprised it's not on Bravo because Bravo had that show.
Yeah.
So if it's on Bravo, then it might be on Peacock.
Nah, that family was trying to do everything they could.
They probably scrubbed it.
Hold on.
Yeah, maybe you can find on YouTube because a lot of people put stuff, but not on the major platform. They
He said that they're on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, they're on YouTube. You can find some episodes. Yeah, I think they only had one season.
Oh yeah, they got the episodes on there.
Okay. On where?
Full episodes
on YouTube.
I'm gonna send it to you. Hold up.
Okay.
Yeah, do that.
They got episode 1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
Okay, cool.
I gotta go back and look at that.
I'm gonna be getting my life tonight and tomorrow.
Oh, you said you're gonna be getting your life.
And then they was walking around with tags on the clothes, like tags hanging out.
Yeah, that.
Oh yeah,
they just found the like they was a lot of fun, to be honest.
Just laid on to you.
Was there ever a time when they were talking about Chrissy because she was a little chunky, like her size of her pants or something?
Exactly. They was bothering that girl a lot.
Yes.
About her appearance.
Yeah, she was a little thick when she was, but that was just baby fat.
Yeah,
a lot of people go through that and then they grow up, go through puberty and they slim out.
But people and their opinions and their judgment, even if that baby didn't slim out, leave that baby alone. That man,
people do
they used to make fun of her because she had the big gap in her teeth. She got the gap. Her daddy had a gap.
I mean,
right?
What you expect?
Exactly.
And then it's I wonder that Whitney didn't fix it. Maybe I guess she accepted it or whatever. But the poor people put braces on their teeth. She didn't get braces, or something. I was wondering why they never.
She was a little girl at
a gap. Maybe
when they did the reality show, she was a very little girl. So she, probably
she still had it as an adult though.
But that's true, yeah.
But I'm just saying, people try to fix those things. I have mine still yet. Okay, so
I have my gap. It ain't going nowhere. So then here's the part where we were talking about when Whitney looks at all of the reviews and she tells him basically like, this is your fault. Like people used to love me. And I'm like, girl, you high right now because they was booing you. And Bobby said the same thing. He just have to get her straight about it. And I think he feels like this is just another argument like it's always been. But we found out that it's not. So Tamika, talk to us about that situation.
Yeah, everything he said was true. And she just, like we were saying, she just got upset because she worried about her image and what people were saying about her. And she started feeding into that, and then started thinking about all the stuff that her family basically was already putting in her head and repeating to him the things that they've been saying about him as if he don't know. It's like, people been saying this type of stuff about me. That ain't nothing new, but that don't, negate or change the fact that they was sitting there booing you too, girl. They don't love you. They love the songs and how you sing. They don't love you. They don't know you. They don't give a damn about you.
And after a while, people were they were coming to see her or watch her to see her F up and see her mess up. Like, remember she did that when she did that 30th anniversary for Michael Jackson?
Yes.
And she looked emaciated. This is when not even funny at this point. She looked
that was
like
bad.
a skeleton.
Looked bad.
She was so bad. And at that
like
point, that's why it's not even funny no more. All the jokes got the window. She looked so bad. You could see her bones.
Right. They were like baseballs. They were so big. They were just her kneecap was huge. Like, oh gosh. She was
she looked a mess. That was when that's when the whole world said, okay, this is a problem.
Yeah, something is going on.
And he was so see, my thing is, when Bobby got clean and she didn't, whose fault is in that? Is it still Bobby's fault? You know what I'm saying? For those people who believe that at that time, but
because even after they separated, divorced, she was still
they had been separated for a while, and you just was still seeing her going through it. That made me sad to see her like that. I was like, Jesus, she about to disappear.
She couldn't shake it.
Even when he did the Biggest Loser show, not the Biggest Loser, I think it was Celebrity Fit Club. That's what he was on.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was still drinking, but he wasn't doing no.
See, that's what the drinking got. Because drinking can be just as horrendous as
absolutely
as well, because alcoholism runs in especially my father's side of the family, and so you people, their whole demeanor, how they dress, talk, everything changes with the alcohol. And I mean,
Kendall said that's not surprising after what she witnessed as a child with Bobby and Whitney. With Bobby and Whitney, that she grew up having issues as well.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. This whole thing is tragic and sad.
It is.
Yeah, this whole thing, and Bobby is his whole story is just sad. One thing after the next, it was just nonstop. Up until last couple of years, he just had his last son die. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, he has so much loss.
So much loss. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so now they have broken up. Basically, she left him. Let's just say it like that. She left him. He came back to nothing. He have to go back to work though, and that's the first thing he do is get back to work. But then he runs into a blast from the past, Miss Alicia. And we met her back in the first one when she was dating somebody. I can't remember. I just remember her at the
Teddy Riley.
Teddy Riley, yeah.
Teddy Riley, yeah.
I knew she was dating somebody. So we met her then. And so now she's back, and you can tell that Bobby is looking at her for more than what you can just tell that right from the jump when he's moved clean, tried to get her number. But moving past that for a minute, because we'll come back to that here in a second, we're going to move to when we first have the interaction where he gets to see Bobby Christina. You can tell that they have definitely been feeding her stuff. Like, I don't understand why people like this, but they just letting this child grow up too fast. She trying to let her smoke cigarettes right there in front of her. Girl, I was like, what in the ham sandwich is going on?
Yeah. Whitney was not a good mother. I mean,
that's the thing that I never liked about it is her, having a certain image of Bobby, regardless of what they went through. And she wanted to be more so, to me, her friend than her mom. Like, I guess she was trying to do the exact opposite of what her mother did to her. And she wanted her to be down with her and be cool with her. And we can't just be cool. We got to be parents. So
you have to parent and guide.
But how you going to be a parent when you the only thing that keep her from being like somebody walking on the street, begging for crack or whatever, is that she had money.
Yeah, she had money.
She was the same as any of these other people you see walking around and strung out on drugs. So she couldn't be a good mother. She didn't even have her life together.
Right. Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
And it was sad. It was something that Sissy saw it okay for Chrissy to stay with Whitney through all of that. Like,
I think they took her at one point when I don't know if y'all remember when CPS had to come into the house. This is a true story, not some gossip. That they had to come into the house. The house was towed up. The mansion she had was towed up, and they had to come and take the child because and I guess get her. And that's when one of the times she did go to rehab.
Yeah, she's with the nanny all the time.
And Bobby wasn't even in the picture at this point either. So Bobby had moved on, and so she was everything. It just got worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah.
Okay, so next up is this part right here where we see that he and Alicia are getting closer. Somehow she done became the manager and all this stuff. And then next thing you know, they dated. Moochie, what did you think about this? Did you see it coming? What do you think about him and her and their dynamics?
I saw it coming, but I felt like she was coming. I didn't like the way he did his brother with this, with hiring her and not telling him what was going on. I thought that was kind of foul. But she was really trying. She didn't want the nonsense either. So I like the way she put her foot down with certain stuff too. You're not gonna drag me into your drama. I done changed my life for you, and you're not gonna do all of this and disrupt my thing. So I like that she put her foot down with him.
Absolutely. Speaking of putting her foot down, this is a moment where she actually puts her foot down right here when he gets served these divorce papers. And it's always so funny to me that because I mean, I've never been divorced. I don't know how this feels or whatnot, so I can't really speak on it. But it's always interesting that people know that they're about to get divorced, but when they get the divorce papers, it's different or whatever.
You could know something is coming, but when it come, you don't necessarily know how you're gonna feel. That's how I look at it. Because even I had, broke up with somebody we was supposed to get married, we never did, and then I found out that he was about to have another baby. We had already been separated. I'm doing my own thing, he doing his own thing. I got in my feelings for a minute, and then I was kind of like, well, why are you feeling this way? Y'all been gone, so I think it's a natural human reaction, but. He went, child, straight to the bottle, driving drunk, that lady yelling and screaming outside her place. I was like, come on, Bobby.
He went and got drunk. But that lady, Alicia, she needs Oscar, an Emmy, a Grammy, a Tony, she needs all of them just for putting up with him all of these years. Because I don't know if any of y'all watched his documentary and that he had. It was on A&E or something. And she still in the present day was dealing with him with the alcoholism. And trying to lose weight. And because this one, she was trying to get him ready to go back on tour with New Edition. And this is as of recently. So she just had to put up with a lot with him.
Having problems.
And even with like the death of his Whitney, Chrissy, and
then Bobby Jr.
So she had to deal with all of that. It's like a repeated cycle. Trying to help him over and over.
Right.
She's still by his side to this day. So she manages him, and he doing. I mean, he doing good. Thank God he.
Right.
I think I love that he has the New Edition guys around him. I don't know about anybody else personally, maybe other than family members, but they are really like they hold him up and hold him accountable. From what it seems like, and they take.
It took a whole lot of years for them to pass this.
Exactly.
They're doing good.
We was talking about that when we was doing the New Edition documentary. It really is a brotherhood amongst them. It took them a minute to get there, but
Right.
But they all had to grow up. They all in their 50s now. Some of them are grandparents, so they all had to go through their own personal triumph themselves and then come back together. Sometimes you got to separate from people and then you come back.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about this right here. Moochie, you touched on this about how she basically was like, look, we not finna do this. Like, you know, she
Mhm.
basically had to get him together because Bobby, you know, he's Bobby at the end of the day, and we know he has his issues and his things that he go through, but you know, it wasn't just all peaches and cream like y'all were saying. I mean,
Mhm.
she went through some stuff.
Yeah, at that point, I think that's when she had found out she was pregnant too. So she was like, "Listen, I ain't gonna be dealing with these shenanigans. Okay, get it
She went through some
together."
shit.
Bobby didn't do a whole lot in his life, and then
Mhm.
also too, y'all know that he was molested as a child. So
Mhm.
that
Well, I didn't know that.
well, that was
Yeah.
in that he
It was in
talked
his
about it
book,
in his,
right?
Yeah, and I
no,
read
in
the
the
book,
doc,
but I don't remember
it might
that.
be in a book, but he did talked about his documentary, and then a couple of interviews he did, maybe Breakfast Club and some other ones. But check that documentary out because he goes real deep into it.
Yeah.
He was Catholic, and it was one of them priests or something messing with him or did something to him. And so to this day, he's still, you know, he's dealing with that. So
And that's why him and Whitney connected. Like Candy
Mhm.
Love said, the trauma
Yeah.
bonding.
trauma
Whitney
bonded.
Houston was assaulted SA2.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that's probably why they connected so good. And then
Mhm.
with the drugs, it just made
Yeah.
everything compound everything.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we
Yes.
gonna need a part 2 for sure. We gotta go back and look at the documentary and
Yeah.
read the book.
Mhm.
And the
We
show.
gonna need some more
I would be down with that.
Yeah.
because this is a
Yeah,
lot.
he
I love
definitely
my
went
book.
through a lot of stuff. I mean, he was
Mhm.
experiencing death from when he was a child, and
So he was
you
a
know,
child.
then to
Yeah.
see how many people that
Yeah.
he
His
lost,
best friend got
that you would have
murdered,
thought
and
he would have been gone. And he even said that it's like I'm made it, you know. And I remember at one point, I think is when he had the stroke. It was like, okay, finally, it's me instead of me losing somebody. You know, I'm about to be about here because it was like how I keep surviving, but I'm seeing all these people go. So
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's
His
the reason
parents
why
left back
God
to
still
back.
got him
yeah.
here for some reason. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're gonna skip forward a little bit, y'all,
This
because
when the mother passed away. Yeah.
So Bobby
That was
eventually
crazy.
is going to he's going to propose to Alicia. Of course, he's going to propose her on stage, so I don't want to forget that. So he does propose to her. They do have, you know, their child and all that stuff. But then we're going to see one of the first losses as we start to go into this rapid set of losses. And this is when he loses his mom. Like, honestly, when I first saw it, you know, way back when, I thought we were about to see the father go because the father
was
was the
sick.
one that's
Yes,
sick.
yes.
But if mother
Yeah.
was sick too, she was walking around with oxygen up her nose and stuff. She had something
Right.
going on.
Yeah, but it had
Yeah.
seemed like the father was
She has
more sick because he was
COPD.
saying, "Oh yeah, he's I'm gonna get
Okay.
you in treatment. We're gonna get you the best doctors." And then the next thing you know is like his mom. You know, oh man.
Miss Carol, and lo and behold, y'all. Hold on, let me find.
Whitney singing at the funeral.
That was, oh man, I was in here saying to myself, "You be."
I remember that too.
Me too. I
I got
remember
a
it.
video
So
somewhere.
funny. I have like memories when I watched it.
Yes.
I said, "You
It's a
be." I
video
said, "That
somewhere
was
on
so
YouTube, I think.
disrespectful." Didn't speak to the wife who's sitting right there. She ain't the girlfriend no more. At this point, she's the wife. I mean, that was crazy. And you see, she was high as a kite at the funeral.
Yeah, that's
was
when he
disheveled.
wasn't. That's when it was like another gap where he wasn't really getting, of course, still the secrets. He wasn't speaking to her, but she made sure she showed up to that funeral. She said, "That's my mother-in-law in here. That's my mother-in-law." She had that thing down, fat boy. I said, "Lord."
Okay.
Yeah,
Whitney comes.
You know something. Wait a minute. I want to say this real fast. When she said, "Would you say to me?" Said, "That's my mother-in-law." I ain't gonna lie. I did that too. When my I was already divorced, but then when my mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, passed away, and I had to get up there and speak, I said that same thing. And my ex-husband was already with somebody else, and the lady was sitting there. But I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way. I was saying, you know, because her and I was close, my mother-in-law.
Yeah,
even up until the day she died, we was close. So I was like, she's my mother-in-law. She'll always be my mother-in-law. But Whitney did it as a jab. I don't care what
Yeah.
nobody say. She did it in the jab.
And
You know,
She
covered her
didn't
role.
care. She didn't give a
because I couldn't
damn.
even get the words out when I had to get up there to speak because I'm not a public speaking
Right.
person. And so I don't like when somebody put me on, I gotta get up and talk on the I don't like that kind of thing. So you and I did, I couldn't control myself. I was crying crazy. She was just doing it to be. She sat in the front row and squeezed her bony
Yeah.
behind in between the father and the what's it called? You know, the sister, whoever. I'm like,
Yeah.
She said beside the
You got to
sister.
keep
Now,
in
Inga,
mind.
don't do
Remember,
her like that.
her and the
She said
sister was
beside the
real
sister.
close, y'all.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Remember,
true.
her
Yeah,
and the sister was real close.
they
One
was
of them
close.
was
Yeah,
still living there with her.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. She
Yeah.
was.
So I didn't see. I personally, I just didn't see anything wrong with her. The fact that she showed up in the state that she has been in, I was like, oh, she showed up. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that she brought Chrissy there, that's more
Yeah.
so what I was kind of focused on. I didn't really look at it.
I
Like,
think he was happy that they were there. And I think
Yeah.
that's what made it even worse later when what happens, because it seemed like, yeah, we go through our stuff and we've been separated, but when it come down to it, we still family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he still loved her.
Yeah.
Still loved her.
He
Yeah,
did.
still loves her to this day. Yeah,
so
he
then
loves
we're
her.
gonna see that Chrissy, she's getting to be around her siblings, which we found out that she don't really get to be around her siblings a lot, which we kind of can figure that out and why all of that's kind of happening.
Yeah.
But they're having their moment. But as soon as we have this moment, we go right into a whole nother loss, and that's the father.
Right, yeah.
passes
I
away.
love that moment of seeing them with their siblings all together.
Yeah.
And that's the Houston side was doing that. The Houston side was keeping her away from
Oh
the
yeah.
Browns. Yeah.
Because Whitney had already started
I feel like
it,
this
so
was nothing
they
but
finished.
Pat Houston and the mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I can't stand them.
Absolutely.
I don't like
Absolutely.
her.
Me either. I can't. Yeah, me either.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
horrible.
especially that Pat Houston. Like you just a sister-in-law. Why you got your mouth into everything that's going on and regulating everything? I don't understand, but
It's that
that's a
dollar.
whole nother conversation another day. But
It's where the dollar's at.
yeah, exactly.
So
That's
then
the
we're
one
gonna
that did the
get to
hologram of her. She's responsible for that, I
Now
believe.
that was
Yeah.
disrespectful.
I know.
Yeah, that hologram is going around touring and everything.
That's disrespectful.
wow.
That was crazy.
That's disrespect. That was when
Yeah.
I saw that, I was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah, the Houstons are pretty petty. No, the Houstons are petty people, Kendall said. Yeah. So then we gotta get to the next thing that happens, which is Bobby's going back on tour. So he's trying to get back in shape to go on tour. I don't think Bobby ever got in shape to go on tour. Every time I
Baby,
saw
no.
him, I was like,
No.
He did nothing
That's
but sing
okay.
his song.
I was like, Bobby.
That's okay.
But
He's
you
doing the best he can.
doing your thing. I ain't even mad at you.
Yeah,
but
I ain't
listen,
mad at
Yeah,
him.
look, he's
I love to
alive.
I
watch.
ain't mad at him.
He's
Everybody
alive.
else done died. He's alive. So I mean, it's okay.
I love to watch him.
Yeah, I like Bobby. But so then we get the news that Whitney has passed away, and he speaks to his daughter, right? And talk about that part, Moochie. He speaks to his daughter, and then all of a sudden she's talking about Nick. And I want, as a matter of fact, Moochie, you hold there. Tamika, you talk about that because I want to ask Moochie something after this.
Okay.
I just, I mean, it is what it is. We know this happened already, but I remember that day of finding out that she passed and just how weird and crazy the whole situation was and how random, the whole Nick coming into the thing was,
Yeah, he's
but this
suspect.
just broke my heart. Like, his reaction and him being scared and worried and wanting to get to his child and find out where she is and asking his brother to please hurry up and go find his daughter, the nun playing games and hiding her from him. And it was just disgusting. It's like, it's bad enough, that she lost her mother in the way that she did. And then to keep her from him, that was just so disgusting.
It was foul.
Yeah,
it was
very, very horrible. Moochie, so I want to come back to you on this one because, and I meant to text you this earlier, but I'm pretty sure you probably know the Nick thing. So he was also at the hotel room with Whitney as well, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, he was there too. He was sharing a room with somebody else when they went to because they was at that whole thing because it was Grammy weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So and then
Mm-hmm.
Ray J was there too. Because remember that's when she was messing with Ray J at
Yeah,
that time.
she was
Yeah.
messing with Ray J, and everywhere she went, where she was taking Chrissy, she was taking him because he was supposedly the godson. All of a
Yeah, they
sudden,
was calling him the
He wasn't
godson
nothing.
then.
right? He
He
wasn't
wasn't
nothing, but
nothing.
that's what we was
Yeah.
calling him.
Mm-hmm. He was
I'm like, how did
her
he get it?
boyfriend.
How he wiggle his way into this family?
Yeah.
He
So on
sure
the
did.
phone,
He
said,
he probably saw they was broken, and he probably was able to wiggle his way right on in.
Manipulate
"No,
both
And he
of
was,
them.
and yeah, and he was supplying them drugs. I believe
Hmm.
that. Now
Yeah,
I
I
ain't
believe
saying
he was
I
going to
ain't
get
saying
the
that's
stuff.
fact, allegedly or whatever, but I believe he was supplying Whitney and the daughter the stuff.
I just remember
John
him being
says,
on
I remember
Dr.
the.
Phil
Go
and
ahead.
how he was panicking and he looked so guilty on there to me.
Mm-hmm. He
Everybody sitting here
did.
saying this that he was using with them, but I believe he was enabling them. He was going to get
Mm-hmm.
the stuff for them, and he was benefiting off of it. He was taking money from them.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes that's what it sounds like it probably was. I know we'll probably never really know, especially the fact that he's no longer here either. Like it's
I'm glad he ain't here. I'm like, I hear people saying, "Oh, it's so sad he died too." No, it ain't sad.
Mm-mm.
Because I believe he had that girl killed, and I could care
Yup.
less about him.
They
He
had a
was abusing her
documentary.
too.
They had a
Yeah.
little
So, and I
documentary.
believe he had something to do with Whitney. So
Hmm.
it was a money grab, like Kendall said. So I ain't feeling sorry for him at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Nope.
Yeah, that was
I
just
don't
so
either.
horrible.
Yeah,
Because
he OD'd
even
on drugs
after
too.
this
So
happened, I know they didn't show that, in this movie because this is Bobby's perspective from, his story, and probably only could put so much. But I remember that after this happened with Whitney passing away, Tyler Perry had tried to step in. It was a few people that
yes,
tried to step in,
yes.
and they was giving, Bobby Christina like little roles on TV and trying to keep her active with different stuff. And then they decided to do that freaking reality
That
show of
that was the
dumb.
worst thing they did.
Worst thing. And Oprah was asking them, like, do y'all really think this is a good thing to be doing right now? And they say, yeah, they all up there looking a damn fool. You could see this girl suffering. Oh, I could not
Yeah.
stand to watch
And
Suffering
then
that
right
they
before
shit.
your
taking her
eyes.
to her mother's grave, the first Mother's Day without her mother. Y'all want to hear something? My mother passed away the same day this woman passed away, so I
Oh
always
wow.
be in a little funk on February 11th.
Mm-hmm.
So when I remember, how certain things you remember where you was and what you was doing when it
Mm-hmm.
happened, and I just happened to be watching that because I that was like kind of like where I was just like usually I go with my dad to my mother's grave and then I just have a down day or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then that came on because she passed away in like the afternoon, and I'll never
It was
forget that.
crazy. Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. That
Mm-hmm.
was breaking news
Hmm.
all
Yeah.
over
And I said,
the TV and the
this
media.
probably ain't true. It's probably not true. And then I was like, dag, it is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very
And
much
then the
true.
things that
But what was
then they partied upstairs like nothing happened.
Yeah, they kept going. Like, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
because
but
you would
and that
always have those fake death hoax. So I know when it came to her and
no, but when
Michael,
they
really, I
but
didn't
they
believe
found
it
out
at
it was
first, but then it was like, yeah, it's true. And then for them to kick him out the funeral, the audacity.
but when
Yeah.
Yeah,
Clive Davis and all them found that it was true, they should have ended that Grammy party. They
exactly,
should have said, "No, we
exactly.
gonna end it. We ain't doing it."
It
Out of
was so
respect
many
for her and
people
the family.
mad because of that too, because of that
Mm-hmm.
party.
And
Yeah, that
I don't
was
like Clive Davis
disgusting.
anyway.
I don't like
I
him
think he's
either.
but that just goes to show that there was no true love. It was all about what she could do, the voice. It wasn't about the
yeah, I
person,
don't
what
It
it
like
wasn't
was
Clive
her.
Davis.
getting
I
done.
think that he's a
Because
snake.
for the person, you would have shut that down
Yeah.
immediately. Like that would have been like just out of respect. And you would think that even just out of respect for everything that she's done for your record label, if we want to go from a professional standpoint, if we don't want to go from a human standpoint, if we just want to go from a professional standpoint, can we at least put a little bit of respect on her name and just have this moment and shut this down? It was
Mm-hmm.
highly disrespectful. But what was even more crazy, and I remember seeing this, I remember this like you
I remember
cannot
in real
forget this
time when it
moment.
Oh, the
happened.
funeral,
Yeah.
yeah, that in real
Oh,
time.
I
yeah.
was
Yeah.
watching
Not
it myself on
forget this.
television. I'm
Yeah,
I
we
watching
had
was
a
it.
watch
mad when they
party.
put him out like that.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was
Yeah, I
crazy.
was
I said,
pissed.
that's
I'm
the
watching
mother
the
that's
TV
doing
like
that. That's
everybody
what I
else. When I
always
Yeah.
said.
saw it, I was
Put
shocked. I
out
was like,
him and his kids, which
but
is her
that was
siblings.
Sissy
And then
and
they was
Patty.
calling him, hit Bobby Brown and his entourage. I was like, that's his
Right. That ain't
kids.
his
Them his
entourage, that's his
kids,
kids.
which is
And then you
Chrissy's
keeping him
These
away
siblings.
kids
from his
spent,
daughter when
That's
this is when she needed him the most.
Mm-hmm.
these kids spent Christmases, the holidays with Whitney and all of that stuff. They was a combined family.
Yeah.
So how do you do
Mhm.
stuff like this?
Dope
Yeah,
can.
but that was nobody but
that's
those
Pat and
two.
Sissy
Mhm.
Houston doing all this. That was them doing
That was all them, and it
Mhm.
was so ugly. It was such an ugly
Yeah.
thing, and it just I
I
don't know.
wonder, do they regret it?
They should. If
Mm-mm.
they don't, they should. They should very
Well,
much.
now that
regret
Chris
it.
is
You'll never
gone, they
know it.
should regret
They
how they
probably
did.
don't, child. Them damn
Mm-mm.
devils. God
Yeah,
forgive me, but
yeah, no, you're right. They probably
Them
don't.
some
Christian
people just
devils.
got ugly spirits, child.
And yeah, this
Yeah.
was ugly. That was pretty ugly. So we're gonna time jump 2 years later when we're in Atlanta, and Chrissy's, they're having their reunion, and Chrissy's telling him like, "Look, people were making decisions for me, stuff I didn't even know what was going on."
Yeah,
And they have this moment, and they're
I
kind of
remember
trying to.
that too.
And she talks about how she, how it hurt her when he left, and a lot of times it is like that when a
Yeah.
father leaves or when a parent leaves, it can be hurtful because the kids sometimes don't understand what's happening, and then
Mhm.
sometimes people are manipulating situations, and then you throw in all the other stuff. We got a lot of money, we
Yeah.
got drug habits, we got
Mhm.
overbearing grandmother and whatever she is,
Brother.
in-law. We just call her
Fake
in-law.
brothers.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got a whole situation. She's not, in other words, she's not coming from it's hard for a normal child to go through
Right.
something like this. She's not even
Yeah.
in a normal child situation. So
And
Exactly. And she
he
felt like
wasn't able
she
to see
lost.
his daughter for 2 years.
Mhm.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yep.
she felt like
Always
she
changing the
lost
phone
both of her.
number.
what you
I'm
say?
sorry. No, I was just saying she felt like she lost both of her parents, and I was so happy when it seemed like they was, coming back together. It seemed like she was in a good place and looking forward to spending time with him, and he was happy like they was getting to reconcile. She was like, "Oh, I don't have everybody and running things. I'm gonna be running my own things now." And talking to him about helping her with a song.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Exactly. So Candy, there's gonna be a part, there's another loss that's about to happen. He's about to have another child with his current wife, and they're doing their thing or whatever, and then he gets a phone call about his daughter. Now, before I ask you how you felt about this, I'm just gonna talk about this for like a second. But when he came in that room and when he put his foot down, I couldn't have been more happy to know that he put his foot down and he let it be known who was the true guardian, who was the true person next of kin over her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that to me, I was like, yeah, that's exactly how this needs to work, because y'all doing too much. And I don't think
That's a fact.
for
They
I
was
think
doing
it was
all that
Ray.
because they was worried about that money, all that money that girl was gonna get.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a fact. He is the next of kin. So grandma
Mhm.
can't be making no decision unless Bobby was locked up or something like that when he
Right.
couldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
But the grandma can't be making no decisions.
Right.
And the sister-in-law, who really ain't even related, you can't be making no decisions. When the father's
exactly.
still there, and he's an
Right.
active father, trying to be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. At the end of the day, he is. And if it wasn't for, I believe it was Ray is the person who called. If it wasn't for him calling, I feel like they would not have called him so that they
Oh, they
could
wasn't gonna call him.
No.
Yeah.
control.
No,
And
she
so,
would have been dead by the time he found out something. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I was glad that the person did give him a call and let him know what was going on or whatnot. So once we get here, Candy, talk to me about this scene. How did you feel about the scene? What were your thoughts about it?
Quite naturally, it was heartbreaking to see it play out on the movie. I can just imagine what it was like in real life. It was heartbreaking. His my daughter, is slipping away, and whatever happened to her happened to her mother, just about the way they say, the same way. Like, how odd is that for that to happen? You bring in one child into the world and another one is leaving, or you try not to keep her from leaving, as much as you can. They moved her from Atlanta to Chicago, I think, to get more help or whatever. But of course, nothing. She was pretty much
to
brain
go to
dead.
specialists and stuff.
Yeah, she was pretty
And
much
they had to
brain dead,
move
no
her
more
back.
reaction. But I felt really bad for him, and I'm glad he was sober so he could really handle it the way it should have been handled. Because it's no telling what would have done had he been.
Yeah, thank goodness he wasn't
on
locked
drugs
up, or he wasn't
real
still
bad.
on drugs or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
I was
thank goodness
glad
he had
was
Alicia.
sober.
Yeah,
he had
thank
a
goodness he
strong,
had Alicia.
woman beside him, holding him up the entire time. And I'm glad she came into his life as well, because she pretty much kept him on a straight and narrow once they got together or whatever. He still did his thing, but he wasn't.
No,
I
but
guess
he
he had
wasn't
too
the
many
same.
tragedies going on for him to go backwards. He couldn't go backwards.
Yeah.
He had to keep pedaling forward. So it was very heartbreaking, to say the least.
Absolutely. So we know that he kept her, he tried, and it went on for 6 months, but at some point there was nothing else that could be done, and they transitioned into a hospice situation. And I think it was a really touching moment when all of the kids are there and they're all singing and they're all really there. That was a touching moment to me. And then we see that she gets, buried by her mother,
Yeah.
and it's always been ironic to me that yes, they had the same story almost, and so, and I guess that's why Bobby was so upset. Like, how ironic is it that this happened to her mother and then this happened to her, and the only common denominator is this person?
Right.
Exactly. She got the exact same way.
Yeah.
But y'all know they had a not a reality show, maybe like a documentary with Chrissy
They
and
did.
him.
Yes.
And that was so cringy.
That was
God.
sad. That
It
was tragic watching
cringy.
that.
That was the one that was on Hulu that they was just talking about?
That wasn't even fun to watch.
I don't know.
Being Bobby Brown, at least you can laugh. And
Right.
This was cringy.
Yeah, it was very cringy.
Oh, that reality show was cringy because they had her doing stuff too soon and she wasn't healed yet.
Exactly. That pissed me off.
It was just
pissed me off. They did that for a money grab too.
Yeah, like she had a ring on, or
like I
she
said,
probably
that was
bought the
all
ring. He didn't buy no ring,
She wanted to keep the money going.
Yeah, that was that little documentary was cringe.
And she had so I believe Whitney Houston's estate, which I thought it would have been worth so much more, but I think the last thing I read said it was worth about 18 million, but it just felt like it should have been so much more.
But they keep selling parts of her.
They sold parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, they keep selling it, and so that
people
like
are
if you watch
trash.
the commercial, you might hear her song in it, and that's because they stole it so that they can license out her music and whatever, So
it's so crazy.
They done did the movie. They done did their version of the movie.
Right.
They done did a couple documentaries, movies.
They just trying to make as much money off of them as possible.
Yeah, he keep up their lifestyle. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
What happens what happens to that money since Chrissy didn't get it?
Kendall.
Oh, I read about that.
The mama probably
that in the will. So this is what they say is in the will. They say in the will that it specifically states that if something were to happen to her daughter, it would revert back to Sissy if she's still alive. Like, back to the family.
So he got the money.
And Sissy's about 90 years old, so she's still around.
Yeah.
So she in her late 80s or close to 90. She's old now, but she's because there's no other next of other kin. I mean, well, the mother would be the next one, and then I guess I would be her brothers.
Well, and she had a will, so she literally had it set up this way.
Oh yeah,
she had to put it.
Because Sissy was, Bobby Christina was supposed to get different portions at different ages and all of that, but unfortunately, that's just so sad.
That's very sad. That is very sad. It's just
Bobby Nick was a plant.
Go ahead.
You think Nick was a plant?
I don't know.
Hey, anything is possible. I believe in some conspiracy theories. So
I could believe
anything is possible.
Because why the same person was there when both
anything
of
is
them passed
possible.
the same way? even though he passed, even though he really didn't benefit much from it in the end, because he ended up passing not too long after
I just
Chrissy
never
passed. But
understood where he came from. It was supposedly this person that she knew, and this is their son, and she takes him in too, and then say that that's her godson and is Bobby Christina's god brother, but yet it seemed as if him and Bobby Christina was having a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, and I don't know. It was just all
and then
weird.
they're going to get married or something. They
They were supposed to get married.
Yeah, thank goodness they didn't get married.
But Monique 69 ways. You are right. The devil always live a long life, right? They say the good go young, and the devil still be walking around.
Absolutely. So at the very end, we see what, I can't think of his son. What's his son's name?
Landon.
No, not the younger
the little boy, Cassius.
Oh, Cassius.
Yeah. I want to say
that's his real life son right there.
Yeah.
Cassius is so cute. But we see him, and he starts to they're reminiscing over the Bobby, and his song come on, and he started doing the dancing, and it's all cute, and his family is together, and it was just a real touching moment, especially when we know that he's had so much loss. So before I ask you guys about your final thoughts, I do just want to go over this, because at the very end they do give you like little details. So it says that Bobby and Alicia got married in 2012. It says that Bobby and Alicia have 3 children: Cassius, Bodie, and Hendrix. And then Bobby's adult children, he has Landon, LaPrincia, and Bobby Jr. And then it says that in 2015, Bobby founded the Bobby Christina Serenity House to provide support for women of victims of domestic violence. And then, of course, Bobby Brown Foods line came out in 2014. And then Bobby continues to tour and make music. And then we have all of these pictures of just life moments that have happened with him. And you can't tell me that this wasn't his child. Lord have mercy.
Absolutely.
But then a couple of years ago, Bobby Jr. died from an overdose. Fentanyl. So
that was last year.
And Bobby is the one, he said this himself. So it's not gossip I heard. Bobby says himself that he was the one who went. He hadn't heard from his son for a few days, and he used to talk to his son every day. So he went to his apartment. He had a key, and he's the one who walked in and found his son on the ground. OD'd on the drug. Now you imagine that's more trauma.
Right.
And he had to go back to rehab after that. This in that documentary he did. He talked about he go back to rehab again because he has slipped back into the alcohol again.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it was never drugs, but the alcohol can still kill you as well. So
look what he had to deal with. Both your parents, your wife, your daughter, your son.
I mean, everything. I mean, he just been
stuff before as a child. Just
and when I went to go see New Edition back in April when they was torn, and when Bobby came on, we know that Bobby can't dance like he used to. We know he can't sing like he used to, but no one in that arena cared. Bobby came on, the whole place roared and screamed and went crazy with Bobby Brown. Like he is the highlight, even though we love all them dudes, but he was the highlight. So it doesn't matter. He got a gut. You see him on Instagram and all that. He trying to dang.
And I love that for him. I love it for him.
But I like the fact that he's still here doing it. He's still here trying, and he, so. Hey, I'm rocking with Bobby all the way to the end.
Yeah, I love that for him.
At the end of the day, people truly rock with Bobby, and they really, truly love Bobby. And it's one thing for people to like your talent, but it's another thing for you to lose your talent, but people still love you, which means that they love you.
They love you.
Exactly.
They're no more.
Exactly. Right.
Let's start from the bottom. We're gonna start with you, Candy. What's your overall final thoughts on Bobby Brown Part 2?
Part 2 was a sad but enlightening story. It shows you how strong he is as a person, that he has a strong woman beside him. So no matter what, you can always come out on top, even though you've had a lot of losses. Because we saw maybe 3 to 4 losses in this episode. So just that alone it says a lot. But
like 4 or 5 losses.
It was very it was sad, but it was still enlightening and make you count your blessings. you know.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank
Mhm.
you. Okay, Inga, what about you? What are your final thoughts on Bobby Brown Part 2? Final thoughts. What do you want to leave us with?
I really agree with the same thing Candy said because it was just sad. Actually, I was tearing up in that second half because it was extremely sad. I just felt for him, and it made me even look at Whitney a little different and a whole bunch of stuff. It was just sad. I don't even know what word to use other than just sad. It was
Mhm.
just sad. I mean, it's
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy at the triumph of him at the end of his
Yeah.
life right now, what he got going on now. But he went through so much to get to where he is right now. So that second half is it's sad. You had to almost get your tissues out because it's sad.
He's still pedaling
Absolutely.
forward. So,
Tamika, what about you? What are your final thoughts on Bobby Brown Part 2?
Yeah, I just, thought this was definitely well done, just like I thought it was well done with New Edition. These was two that, BT actually did a good job with, and Woody
Mhm.
McLean, did excellent. I mean, just everybody that they picked. The daughter to me definitely reminded me of his daughter, Raina from Power. Um, and I cried like a baby. I forget what the other two things was that I watched during the same time, but I said, okay, I gotta watch something that's not gonna make me cry because I was crying about everything I was watching. But I definitely was boohooing with this, and it's like you could remember because just remembering that what was happening during those times. I could remember when all this stuff, what it was, the reality
Mhm.
shows, the news. It was just kind of like I said, bringing back the memories, and I can identify with some of the things as far as having a lot of loss back to back as far as dealing with people that have addictions, dealing with people that have. So I just felt like it's a real life story that a lot of people could relate to, and I'm glad he got to tell his story his way. And
Yes, absolutely. Let me read Kendall's comment real quick. Woody McLean did his thing in this movie portraying Bobby, but also in New Edition too. Yeah, can't forget
absolutely.
Kane in Power Book 2. Talented actor, definitely. He is
Mhm.
definitely a talented actor. Moochie, final thoughts on Bobby Brown Part 2?
The final thoughts. This was like a really emotional roller coaster with his whole life because he went through a lot of trauma. He lost a lot of people. He dealt with a lot of death. Um, but he prosper. He pulls through it, and then we see him on the other side, still, battling this, and it made you like him more, and it made you want to root for him more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I came away with it because you still wanted to see where it go. Now, as far as the actor, with Woody McLean, when I saw this, and then we saw the coming attractions for Power Book 2, I was like, oh, this guy, the guy that played Bobby Brown, that's how I was. I said, oh, this is gonna be good. So when they introduced the cast to that made me even more of a fan of him because he brought it all. He put it on the floor, and you didn't even see him. You saw him being Bobby Brown. You saw him as Bobby Brown. When you had to go back and look at stuff to be like, this is the real Bobby. He did a
Exactly.
good job.
I think he did a really good job too. I think they had a very good cast. Like I said, this was my favorite. This was one of my favorite Whitneys of all the Whitneys that have happened. I think she's done like a phenomenal job. She really brought it to life. I love Yaya too,
Mhm.
as Whitney, but she also is like they very close for me. Like both of those two. So
Yeah, when she
I
was
agree.
calling that Bobby, she had it. She had it.
Bobby, Bobby.
like you can never forget
I
that
agree.
moment.
Those two out of all of them was the best. The girl that's
That
on
that that
Netflix,
last
she's
movie
horrible.
stunk. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah.
Oh
The one that when they
yeah,
did the Whitney Houston one where they had they told Bobby Christina's part and they had that lady playing Whitney Houston. She was she
yeah.
wasn't good to me.
Yeah, I
So
those
out of
to
all
me,
of them, she
these
was
two
the best.
have done the best. They've done the best jobs. Like I said, Yaya, I still think Yaya did an amazing job, but oh girl, I can't remember what
I
her name
agree.
is, but she's done a phenomenal. She did a good job. There was a lot of times with her mannerisms, like Tamika said, you were like, damn. Like that is so on point that it was
Mhm.
ridiculous the way it was on point. It was just like, oh dang, you did that, girl. So anyway, yeah, I thought that Bobby Brown too. I thought this was like everybody else said, it was definitely emotional. It was definitely, it was tragic at the end of the day, but there is some triumph in seeing someone overcome so much and fighting so much to just because I don't think a lot of people could find the willpower to get up and just live, to just to live life, but there was one thing you can always say is that having someone in your corner and being by your side, I think that that probably is one of the biggest things that has really helped Bobby to be able to keep going and keep pushing, not to mention and a lot of times like this is when people grab hold to their faith even more. I know I do, especially it's just that you need something to grab hold to, and I just feel like just looking at this story does make you love Bobby more. It does make you want to root for him. It makes you want to see him win, because out of all of this tragedy you just want to see him be happy, and and that's kind of my take on it. So, guys, we have been on here for 1 hour and 25 minutes, y'all. This was that Bobby Brown story was definitely they had a lot in this. BET did a good job. Let me shout out everybody
Yeah.
in the chat real quick. Kendall came through, always coming through. We appreciate you. Miss Kira Speaks. If you are not subscribed to her channel, make sure you subscribe to her channel. Make sure you check out her. Is it Pajama Saturdays or Sundays? I think it's Sundays. It's Sundays, right? Pajama Sundays. And
Yeah, Pajama Sundays.
see who else we had in the building. We got
DeMarcus.
DeMarcus, girl, my thing not going up. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, this y'all know my other computer. Y'all know how I be I'm still trying to learn to work it. We got LSW in the building. B Will was in the building. Ja was in the building. DeMarcus came through and somehow managed to send me a message on one of my other videos talking about Queen Louie. If you do not stop,
DeMarcus be trolling.
Bonnie Love came through, Shane came through, Suburbia came through. Oh my goodness. But I just want to thank everybody for coming through. We appreciate you guys. Even to all the people that's watching that didn't necessarily say anything, we definitely appreciate you tuning in to the show, guys. Moochie, what you got going on your channel?
Well, we're gonna be doing Uptown Saturday night for the Sunday throwback. And I don't know whose turn it is with Powers. I don't know if it's not, I know it's not my turn. But I do want to talk about other things, but I'm trying to really let my voice come back.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yes, please let your voice come back. We can't lose you again.
I'm trying to take
She
it
was
easy,
down for
y'all.
she was down for too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you got going on? Because I know you in the middle of a little break right now, but you should be coming back here real soon, like like strong. Because you got a lot of stuff coming back.
Yeah, I've been taking some time for myself, but of course I'm gonna talk about Power, and then we gonna have our Power out together, and then I still got Love at the Lockup, and then Saturday I'm gonna do Self-Care Saturday and my What You Should Be Watching. I'm gonna actually shout out to Twitch because I don't think I got nobody following me, but I had just set it up real quick and I got it streaming there now too, because for some reason my Facebook wasn't coming up no more. I don't know why, and my YouTube wasn't coming up. I don't know what happened, but nonetheless, if y'all want Twitch, follow me there. But yeah, I think this is gonna be like my 50th video for my What You Should Be Watching. I didn't even realize it until when I was trying to get everything together. So I'm like, oh wow, I did 50 of these already, and I'm gonna try to do something a little special because I want to shine a light on sickle cell, domestic violence, and breast cancer awareness month. So that'll be for self-care. And then what you should be watching, I want to kind of tell y'all some of my horror favorites, and then of course give y'all the breakdown of all the new TV shows and movies to look out for October. So that's what I got so far. Keep your notifications on and stay tuned. I guess I know the middle of October I'll be doing Sisters and the old one that come back. So if anybody watch that, I'll be doing that. But yeah.
Absolutely. We still waiting on Candy to get her YouTube channel.
Yes.
You know it's coming. It's
She
coming.
coming.
She coming. Inga, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna start?
Me and Candy gonna have to link up and put our stuff together.
Right.
We might have to join one together
Listen,
and figure
it's a
something out.
struggle. It's a
Okay, yeah,
struggle.
that'll be dope right there. But all right,
Now, I
y'all,
have been
I
watching
don't
some
really
movies
have
on
much of
BT Plus, and I'm like, maybe I should talk about
Mhm.
these movies one day. I don't know.
Yes.
I think
girl.
it's Hello is on there and Love, Mary Kill. I watched those two the past couple
Mhm.
days, but they were
You
good
just
on BT Plus.
you just got BET Plus.
No, I have a lot. I have too many apps.
Oh, okay.
Oh
Well, that's
No,
what I
I've
Lord.
was
been
gonna say.
had
Hello, been up there.
what? Love, Mary
Hello.
Kill. Well, see, I wasn't into watching the movies for some reason. I don't know. I have to
Oh,
watch it when it sticks out to me,
I got you.
or
I
either
got
or
you.
somebody tells
Mhm.
me
I
to
did a
watch it, then
review
I
on
will.
that,
But
by the way.
huh?
I did a review on Hello when it came out
Shit, you
because
did.
you're Marcel. Yes, I did. See, you telling on yourself. Nah, I'm messing with you. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, okay, y'all. So okay, so it looks like I mean that's it. I don't really have nothing coming up. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just gonna be doing our lives with us. I have been trying to balance life out right now, and so until
Mhm.
one of my main shows really comes back on. I'll just be doing our lives, and every now and again, I'll probably pop in and do some power stuff. But that's just kind of where I'm at until one of the other shows come back, and then I'll go back into it heavier. But I like doing the live, so it's I don't know. I just like being live now for some reason. So anyway, y'all, that's it. So we about to get up out of here, y'all. We will talk to y'all on Sunday, I believe. Well, no, Monday. Monday. We do Monday now. We will see y'all on Monday for Power. I don't know who's doing it, but it's gonna be one of us, and we'll all be streaming it. So we'll see you guys then. Until next
Mhm.
time, peace.
Peace.
All right, child.